Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream.
Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, our production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out big important news. With us today, Bernard Toyot, Chairman CEO of HPQ Silicon. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol HPQ. For those of you new to the story, and there's going to be a lot of you because they're really moving along quickly, especially in the second half of 2019, the company is planning on becoming a vertically integrated silicon metal producer with the goal of being at the lowest cost and the lowest carbon footprint. Sounds like a lot, but more than just lip service. They've actually proven and advanced their PureVAP process with world-class partners and are preparing for pilot plant launch this quarter. Their partners are PyroGenesis Canada, a global leader in plasma torch technologies, and Apollon Solar, one of the world's leaders in renewable energies. The headline today, HPQ Silicon enters into discussions with battery manufacturer. Bernard, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, George.
This seems like a pretty big press release here. You're entering into discussions with a battery manufacturer. What does that mean exactly, entering into discussions? I know you couldn't say a lot because you've entered into an NDA at the same time, but what does that mean for everyone at home?
It's a big step forward. It's really a big step forward. It demonstrated the PureVAP can attract interest for what we're doing. It demonstrated HPQ has a very strong future that is much wider than we ever anticipated when we started this. This for me is an important step in the sense that there is interest for what we're doing, and I think in the battery space we are going to have an incredible leadership position, basically because of the PureVAP.
So you mentioned in the press release that this is a very sophisticated and experienced party. What was their main point of interest? What was it that they liked the most about the technology that got them to this interest level where they're in discussions and signing an NDA with you?
Two-phase. One of them is, and that's a point that people have to understand. In the energy space, the silicone used, the material used comes out of the ultra-high purity material. And the reason being that battery manufacturer like to have a material that's 3N. And 3N isn't done by metallurgic process other than ours. And so basically everybody uses either electronic grade silicon metal, solar grade silicon metal, byproducts of that, basically scraps of that, and try to use it and say, it's cheap. The crux of the battle of silicone entering the energy space in a massive way, basically silicone becoming the third peg of the battery space, which peg number 1 being lithium, peg number 2 presently being graphite, peg number 3 is what they call other, but silicone is going to be a big one, and eventually over time we will replace graphite with silicone. One of the main problems with it is that material exists, can be used, can be made, but are way too expensive for the industry to accept. I'm going to give you a small idea. As part of another project that we're working in the silicone space for batteries, we ended up buying some small samples of competitor product. Well, it cost us $28 a gram.
Wow.
That's $28,000 a kilogram. That's $28 million a ton. Okay. So and I think I've said that in previous interviews and anything else. The price of that material is too high for the general market, but it is there. Just lately, Aprius, one of the companies has been the leading founding of that, which do some ultra pure silicone for batteries using a very complex product that only Airbus buys for their space system. Okay. Well, Airbus needs so much that they bought big chunk into Aprius. Okay. So this is the main issue with the silicon for energy space. The people that are in that space are not silicon metal producers. They could be solar, they could be Walker, they can be electronic grade, but they don't have our technology. So the discussion with the battery manufacturer actually started with them saying, you know, can you furnish us some porous silicon wafers? Well, I understood how to make, you know, 3N material, lower grade material in wafers. That I understood because that's what we worked in the solar space. I had no clue how to make porous silicon wafer. And this is where the advantage of having the depth of technical expert like we had. I ended up having my technical discussion with guys at Apollon, and I approached the system of, would you know how do you make porous silicon wafer? And then they just remember, says, we have a patent to do that with metallurgical grade silicon metal. So originally my discussion with
that was serendipitous.
That's the advantage of being well connected and having access to people. This is what we've been building in the last 3 years. It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it's damn important. So we have a long-term good relationship with Apollon. We made them realize that they had a valuable asset that we could work together. Well, a valuable asset if you add it to our PureVAP process. And then we started discussion with the battery manufacturer. So it evolves from all these issues. It actually evolved from them just being, can you make us, you know, wafers of silicone using 3N material, to, yes, we're now interested in looking at doing porous silicon wafer with the technology from Apollon. So it's the natural progression of having an ongoing open discussion. But since these are highly technical issues, every parties end up signing NDAs, and you got to get everybody on board into how it works. So that's literally how it evolved, but it's fun. What is our key advantage is our ability of the PureVAP and the flexibility of PureVAP. So we are one of the few, I think we are the only one, okay, that can enter this market. Now, the insane selling price, I'm telling you,
that's saying something. I got to admit, that's saying something.
Well, you use the word serendipity. That's literally what it is. All the work we've done to get us there for solar makes us incredibly well positioned for the energy storage space, which is about to explode. We knew about this. And it's funny because this morning I had a discussion, and I know how much you like to bring back the idea of Elon Musk and everything else. But I think in this regard, I'm more following the Jeff Bezos philosophy, okay? We're building it, and then you discover, oh, there's a market for this there, and it becomes big. So it's more that approach than being, you know, flamboyant and says, you know, we're going to change everything. It's really structurally sound. The technology we have, the technological partners are strong. Now we're starting to have some technology, and we're just, like I said, we're just tipping the iceberg. Investment in the, and it's the more I start to talk about it, so we'll talk more about also the news from the NRS, but that's also what it brings. We have a worldwide expert from a university here and just around Montreal, not far away from where we are, our pilot plant, that's going to be able to validate the material that we're doing for commercial people. So that's very important.
It just seems like yesterday, though, it was August 19th, where you had a quote where you said, we're going to start meeting with end users. That was the gist of part of your quote. And you know, at the time, it's like, okay, you know, that seems like pretty quick. You're starting to meet with end users, but here we are, November, and you've already got serious discussions going on with the battery manufacturer. So,
George,
was that faster than you expected?
No, that was slower than expected. And I'll tell you why. I don't say something, okay? I've learned from experience. I try not to say something, okay, where I'm not pretty well advanced in the project. I'll give you an example. Professor Hui, I've been working with him since 2016. But it's because in the R&D work that we're doing, the timelines are so long that, okay, now it's time. You understand? It's a chess game. You have to, that's the way the business is. You have to be thinking 4, 5, 6 steps more ahead. And that's what we're doing. So was it faster? No, it should have been much quicker. Why? I'll give you some weird reason. We ended up dealing with two different languages. You know, one party spoke English, the other party spoke French. I was stuck in the middle playing both of them, and then it took longer than it should have.
So this came about sooner, but it just took a while to finally pay for it.
But everything takes longer than you would like to. This is why I think I'm going to have to use the famous sentence from Peter Pascali of PyroGenesis. Everything is imminent, but imminent is sort of like, you know.
But on that note, do you have a sense of how long this discussion? And I'm not trying to pin you down to a date, but you know, do you have a sense for how long this discussion phase might be, or how long it gets until they finally start evaluating the technology? Because I'm presuming, given the speed of what's going on in the battery in the battery market, companies are moving fast. That's my assumption. What can you tell us about generally how long until you know if you're getting married?
Well, first of all, I'm not really looking at this stage of getting married. I'm looking at becoming their choice supplier, because I have a a unique position. They're developing a new technology, and that needs porous silicon wafers. We're developing the process to do that. We have a pilot plant that's going to be operational. So the timing is just perfect as we work together. People have to realize that to validate the product of a battery, okay, it takes multiple cycles. And then you repeat those tests and doing a long time. So it's not going to be instantaneous, but I'm in a position now where I can start to work on this as all the other steps are moving forward. So it's a question of having multiple projects in parallel, moving in steps, moving in the right direction. The key point for us at the PureVAP stage now is we only need to demonstrate that we can reach 90% conversion yield, okay? Which for us, it doesn't seem to be that big of a technical challenge for multiple reasons that are sort of internal to us. But that's our big challenge, to get the system to work there. But that's the only like technical risk left of the project, only the big word, but that's my understanding of where we are. So now I'm much more focused on finding products that have high niche application, silicon for solar as an extremely high niche application. And when I look at what happened in the history of solar grade silicon metal, I can foresee that the same thing is going to happen. It's going to be, volume is going to be dictated by price, and whoever can be the price leader is going to be the winner, okay? So my competitors are not from the silicon space, so they buy their raw material, okay? I saw an article, which was some people were completely excited about the circular side. We can recycle solar panel and make material for solar, for energy storage battery, because it sells for $44,000 a kilogram. That's not what the industry wants. I happen to have a good idea what the battery industry wants, and I strongly believe that with Apollon's wafer technology and other things that we're working on with Pyro, we will be able to come up with a solution where we can meet their price demand, and for us generate significant return for our shareholders. And we don't need to raise billions of dollars of capital to do that.
You touched on in the press release how the meeting came about with discussions in the industry and things like that. Mm-hmm. How is the battery industry discovering HPQ?
It's going to be working with Professor Roulet, coming out with technical results.
Like, how did these guys, for example, this undisclosed company, how did they come about?
You'd be surprised. The more we start talking to third parties, and we talk to some parties saying we're looking at this for silicon for batteries, and it says, oh, I know this battery company that's looking for that, and then we started to talk, and that's most often the way it is. Eventually, we will go out and we'll have the pilot plant operation. We'll bring people. We'll have sample material to start. This was done, you're right, it was done very, very fast, although I always, if you look at it in retrospect, it's pretty fast. If you look at it and when you're going through it, it's slow. That's just the way it is. But this is more on spec discussion, because if we succeed, and there's no reason for us to doubt we won't succeed, to make the silicon wafer that they're looking for. That was just that, you know, they, as you said, serendipitous. They were looking for solution to do that, and we came back to do this. You have to realize that a lot of the money's been done in R&D for high efficiency batteries was done either in military space or a very expensive level, okay? Because it's done for very limited things. Now what we have to do is figure a way to bring that research down to the cost, which is, if I look at this in perspective, and this is why I gave this example to you, I think many times, about the Temenko War, okay? People thought Temenko was because they were hiding, not divulging. No, it was just nothing else than a technology war between two processes to make it. The chemical process and the metallurgic process. Chemical won, metallurgic lost, but the price collapsed afterwards. So if you base your business plan on the insane selling price, you won't make it. But I'm uniquely positioned with the Gen 3 to figure a way to make money at the insane prices. Well, I fully understand that that's not going to be my end price. So this is why I'm very interested in being in discussion with people in the industries, but I don't want to lock myself in right now.
Last question. This part, you announced a partnership with INRS on October 31st. And in the past, devil's advocate, you've actually said, oh, a lot of guys doing R&D with universities and schools, and they're so, you know, they're way behind. How does this differ? Why is it so important?
It's not the same thing. What I've always said was this. You have a university professor, has an idea at lab scale, okay? And the problem goes in scaling it up. That doesn't mean that the university is not an expert in this field of testing the material. In this case, we are approaching them and saying, this is our product. Can you evaluate it for battery application, for energy storage application? And he's a world-renowned expert on silicon for lithium-ion batteries. So it fits very, very well. You know, there is a good environment to get that R&D part financed by government grants and everything else. So that we'll be looking into it, which is the same thing we did in the gold project, where it was the NAS that was financing most of our research that we were doing for gold at the beginning before we started to be more aggressive. So that fits well into the entire model. And once you have research, see, a lot of our end buyers are going to want independent validation, okay?
And that's why I want to bring that up, because I see here the second phase is performance testing, and that's what I was going to ask. Is this independent party validation, even though you've got PyroGenesis and Nepal Solar?
But they're not independent. They're partners, okay? INRS is independent because
of course not. Yeah, I know that.
University. We have to be very cautious about this. Like, to a buyer, PyroGenesis' opinion is going to be great, but they're going to want an independent. For what we're doing right now, when we're going to have to publish some material about the work we've done, the results we have, having a university professor there adds into it. The guys at Apollon, when they started this in the solar business, told me what made the difference to attract people was being able to publish scientific paper on what's going on. So we'll have to just what we issue in the scientific paper and make sure we keep most of the secret to what we're doing inside.
And I know that the first goal is they're going to evaluate the commercial potential of materials produced by PureVAP as an anode material, and then they're going to go to the performance testing. So do you have an ETA for how that looks like when you start publishing, performance testing and so on and so forth?
It's the same thing. It's just like two different type of tests. It's like you put them in half battery cell and you do cycle life and everything else, charge them, discharge them, and everything else. And the other ones are, okay, can you take that material and manufacture it in a semi-commercial scale? But those are all issues that, you know, we knew we were going to address in the solar, and now we're addressing in the battery space. But I think the battery space is going to take off even more aggressive. I think there was an article, I think it was on Fortune or on Forbes, I'm not sure. I think it was Fortune, which basically said energy storage is what coal was in the 1900s, oil was in the 20th century. In the 21st century, it's literally what it is.
No one's going to argue with that.
So,
that's for sure.
So, and I'm not like, the beauty of silicon, it's not a resource that you can say, I have a deposit of, you know, millions of tons of lithium brine. It's not that. It's a process. That's the point I'm trying to get people to understand it's our process that's really valuable. Our process allows us to make a material at a prices that nobody really can do, a material that's really needed for the renewable energy crisis that we're going on.
Right.
And it's going to allow people to, you know, if what we're doing works, your cell phone could work, you know, you could use it 24 hours a day and still only need one charge. Okay. So that's
I hope not, because up until now I use that dead batteries as a reason why I couldn't speak to my wife. If you could charge batteries for 24 hours a day, I lose that.
You won't have any more excuse not to be reachable.
No more excuses. Bernard, congratulations on this news. It's a big first step. I see it as a really, really great, not first step, next step. It came faster than I expected for me, slower than for you, for obvious reasons, but either way, it's here now. And congratulations. Looking forward to what you're going to come out with next, because clearly the PureVAP, its technology and its products are being recognized out there. So I'm excited about what the rest of Q4 will bring, and then what we're going to see in 2020.
Thanks.
You've been watching Bernard Tourillon, Chairman, CEO of HPQ Silicon. The company trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol HPQ. You've heard Bernard. Now you've got to do your due diligence. Start that at Agoracom. Get there, punch in the company's name or stock symbol. Take a look at all the profile information we've got, all the most recent press releases, and definitely watch the videos that we've done with Bernard over 2019. Watch them chronologically, and you'll see that whatever he's talked about has actually happened. As understated as he is, he makes it happen. And then use the link on Agoracom to get over to HPQ's website to do your final due diligence. But make sure you take a close look. They're doing great things, and they're definitely worth looking into. Have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.